Yeah, so I was able to finally break down the wire respecting the original shit, so I can have maybe headlights. Well, this cat's my friend. I forgot what I had named it, but we kick it. That fool just be chilling. He hunts rats out here. Anyway, I was able to figure out the fucking switch to see if I can do it with one hand. That's accessory. Crank. If you crank, you can see here I have spark. I'm pretty much done, but basically the premise of it is that since I'm not running the 80s column, I'm not gonna run most of the circuits on this harness, so I just shave them all the fuck off. Just making sure I maintain crank and ignition spark, so there's power to ignition and then crank, and you can see there that flashing light means, because I have my fucking spark tester connected here, the flashing light means that I have spark. So mission completed. I have a little skinny ass harness that will fit more and be more accommodating for the fucking truck, with all the necessary fuses and like leaving spaces where I can still run the fuses that I cut out. I can still run them standalone, which I am when I run this factory headlight. What I was saying is that I'm putting the front end back on. I'm gonna be able to use the original radiator and it will clear. All these lines clear. Steering's tight, everything's nice. I'll be damned if like anybody that doesn't know shit about this truck gonna be able to tell it's even enough from there. You know what I'm saying? So it's sitting on a 77 Grand Prix Pontiac with a 400 disc brakes and everything. Step notch natural to the car. The frame was narrowed and shortened. Naturally shortened itself an inch, which is good because it was a little bit too long for the wheelbase. I don't know why I say we, because I'm doing this shit on my own trip, but I nailed the fucking wheelbase. Right. Center, beautiful. One thing that sucks about these fucking racing fuel cells is these NA fittings and shit because they're expensive. Yep. I think to make my life easier and to respect the truck, I'm gonna utilize the same filler and put the tank down there. It'll fit. Hopefully. I'm also tempted to just run the suck lines because it's a fucking mechanical pump, so I can just go to the top for the fucking return and feed, and then just use these caps it came with to fucking block out the bottom of the sump. Doesn't really need a splash sump. I could just come off the top. I like this tank. It comes with a fucking gauge. Just checking for crank. Not starting it or anything. Just checking the wiring. Oh yeah. I bet she's getting wet. I bet she's excited. She's gonna run in I don't know how long. In decades. But now she's a Pontiac. Now she identifies as a Pontiac Chief. 400. Yep. So I put the fucking this old school mechanical fan without a clutch. Hella clearance now. And then now I can run something to this godforsaken hose that faces the opposite direction and shit. So a fucking horde here of radiator hoses. Trying to figure out something classy that curves without me having to fuck with the thermostat housing. These goddamn wasps, motherfucker. Almost got that far. That was pretty fucking beautiful. That shit actually curves to where it clears all these brackets. And I had to run a reduction here, but it tightens good. I'm doing this shit all the time. Should be golden. Still testing out this radiator because I think it's not gonna be shit for this 400 because this is off the original inline 4 like fucking 80 horsepower engine that came on this, but who knows? Radiator's a radiator. Good thing that we're able to keep the mechanical non-clutch fans, so it's always gonna be cooling since the get-go, so that's good for it. My next conundrum, I guess, is where to place the battery. I really hate doing relocation to the rear battery shit. Just because it's a nuisance when you're trying to troubleshoot or do a breakdown or something in the future, you know? It's cool to have the fucking battery up here and shit. But there's not that much space here in this big. These trucks are very different in many ways than the regular, like, you know, the tri-power fucking Chevy GMC Ford from the era, because they have no under dashboard wiring. It's all foot space, and everything's in this little fucking crevice here, which looks kind of fucked up. I don't know if the original wires are there anymore, but I really want to tuck this shit in. Yeah. I'm thinking of using this heater box to hide all the wiring and shit, but I don't know if this wants to keep his heater and shit. Or whatever. And this goes like this. I don't think it had any other shit that's missing from it. I don't think it's gonna jive with the fucking how the brakes are there now and shit, so we might do that. Obviously, since we're doing the modern frame, I have already the fenders attached to a body where they're gonna go and shit. But we had everything floating here, hanging, because I gotta make mounts for this shit, right? So I'm gonna use these big ass fucking rail pieces. This is gonna go welded to a frame, and then I welded this tab here for it to bolt on, and then maybe one on the bottom. Still hot. And then it's gonna line up with these holes that are already there, and it's gonna be welded to the fucking frame. And then I'm also use this to fucking run up the battery box from there. Be killed two birds with one bone. I'll do the same on this side. But this shit's going out, gang, fucking. So this is pretty much mounted solid. I'm gonna make a battery tray, and then I'm moving here to the back. I had to remove this shit again, and then I had to get rid of this little bit of a notch here so it can sit level, and then I'm gonna fucking resheet the whole floor or whatever the fuck. This fuel cell had to be pretty much exact, and it fit pretty good. Because it's gonna come in through the top, and then I'm gonna have to put a hose fitting that goes into that hole, because I'm gonna run the original hull fill. But it actually fits in there. It fits in there quite well. Something like that. Then I'm gonna make some tabs to hold the fuel cell up, because If you see here that hole, it's gonna line up with that hole exactly almost. And then it has this rubber fitting that goes down there. And then I'm gonna have a reduction expansion thing with a rubber grommet that's a little bit thicker with an elbow that I have somewhere there. Which would work good because that one's a little bit fatter, but when you line it up, it wants to be like a couple inches off to the side offset, so I think I can make work with that one hose elbow I told you about.